Hello, hello, and welcome back to the ITZINU podcast. So today I'm bringing you a coaching call with Tanya. So Tanya is somebody that has been doing my classes since her eldest son was really, really little. I think he was only a few months old when she started. So I have known Tanya for quite a while. She has done numerous different programs or challenges that I've run through the studio for many years, and she has really spent time building up lots of really, really good habits. But like everyone, these habits tend to fall sometimes to the wayside. The thing is, she has always continued her exercise and always been consistent with that. But the good thing about today's coaching call is, and I thought it was really important to bring it and share it with everyone, is Tanya's goal is not about weight or any of those things. It's about how she actually feels and building her core strength. So she does have very tight hips, and I think it's something that she's sporadically worked on, but never been able to find something that she can consistently stick to with that. And I think she's now at a point in her life where the pain, it's starting to bother her more than it was before. And she now really knows, like, I need to nail down and do something about it. So here, what we've been able to, so in the call, we were able to talk about what could be some other factors, and then maybe not the factors that you would suspect are contributing to her pain. And because we don't want to just go gung-ho and just only do core and hip stuff, we want to look at how other things in our life may be affecting that. So we talk about that in the podcast, and we finish with some action steps that she can take moving forward. And the same thing, I will look forward to sharing with you in a few months' time how she goes and how she starts feeling after implementing the things that we talked about. So I'm going to jump straight into the podcast, and make sure you listen all the way through so you can get her action steps. Okay. So what I wanted to check is, so we're talking about, so I've read over like what you've sent.
Yeah.
Now, I guess what the main thing is, what are you actually looking for? So in what are you looking for, is in what would you like to get out of this conversation? And what are you looking for health and fitness wise?
I want to get my core strength back up and running.
Yep.
Because since having the two boys, I don't think I have been doing enough with that.
Yep.
And I think that affects everything else, like my hips as well. They're all tight.
Yep.
But I do have disc degeneration in my sacrum area as well. So I don't know if that's to do with the hip tightness and but so those are the key areas I'd like to focus on, because sometimes when I'm doing some exercising, like you say, to do with your neck, like if you feel it pulling in your neck, just to keep it, yourself on the floor kind of thing, your neck on the floor. But I do find that it does hurt a bit more sometimes, when I'm not concentrating on my core strength isn't activated, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm trying to be more aware of everything like that at the moment, and it's just important for me because of the job I do as well with the massage. So I want to be able to keep going as long as I can with that.
Is this your main focus now over like the other things we've been working on?
Yeah,
before?
I'd say so, because we've worked on the other things together, and I know what to do with all that now. Do you know what I mean? So like the challenges I've done and all the creating new habits and stuff like that, I know, but I think at the moment this would be my top priority. Yeah.
So this is your number one priority.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it's like really important to get clear on as to what's your number one like priority. The thing that I thought would be good to try to do is, because I could kind of tell from what you'd sent me that looking at your core and your hips was what you're prioritizing.
Yeah.
To make sure that the other habits that we've put into place.
Yes, that's it. And I think that's why I started to do the Pilates, just did that trial with it again, just to kind of motivate myself to get back into some.
Yeah.
Not as if I'm not exercising or anything, but
yeah.
to get back into doing, you know, a bit more on a regular basis, and then you know,
because with you know, like with pain, inflammation, obviously your food makes like a huge, you know, like it contributes.
Yeah.
So
alcohol doesn't do that though, does it?
Of course not. But it's finding a balance. It is finding a balance with that stuff.
It is.
But what I don't want to do is jump from thing to thing and drop other things. So, you know, you have spent time, you know, like, so when I know, or correct me if I'm wrong, I know when we've put a focus on, you know, you started like walking more in the mornings and putting more on your food, and then I guess we were doing like a 6 or 8 week style program.
Yeah.
That stuff dropped off. So I don't want the stuff, I just want to kind of reinforce to not let that stuff drop off.
Yeah, and I think I just need to refocus on that as well, because life just gets busy, doesn't it? And then, you know, kids get sick, Steve goes away.
Yeah.
It's just a knock-on effect.
Like how would you feel, like how is your energy overall, and like how do you feel all of that stuff is? Stress levels, energy. I know you've had a few.
Yeah, there's been a bit of stuff going on with the, you know, Archie being a bit sick, and then Steve goes away. That gets a bit stressful. You know, but that's why I do try and still come to classes and do the things that help me mentally as well as physically. The walking has definitely tipped off a bit. Like I haven't, but then I've been doing the Pilates extra, so it's so I suppose that's kind of overcompensated.
You're still laying down when you're doing Pilates.
Yes, true.
Right.
So, but I would like to get back into the walking as well. That would be good. Yeah.
So what I think it's great to have this kind of focus. I think we need to see how other stuff contributes to. So that, like the walking in the morning. So I know that was a habit that you got back into, and you said how good that set you up for your day and all that stuff. So we want to think about how, because yes, we have pain, you know, like you've obviously noticing more that your neck is clicking in, or your hips have been since I've known you. But I think it's important to see that I notice in lots of people that women tend to, not women, but anyone tends to have a point where their stress goes to. You know, we notice it in your job.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Seeing that we do want to focus on this, but we don't want to drop everything else, because I think that this other stuff, managing your stress, keeping yourself walking and moving in the morning, looking at your food, how that stuff will contribute to your hip pain.
Yeah,
and
true.
If we go, okay, I'm now putting all my focus on my core and my hips, and then we're not going to put as much attention on the other. I think you might not get very far.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. Like I was getting up, and like you say, I was doing the early morning walks at one stage, but we've just been through such a thing with the boys with their sleeping, and then, you know, it's like musical beds at night, you know, like whose bed you end up in the morning. And then if I'm getting out of bed early, like Riley will wake up too early. And I don't want to feel like I'm making excuses, but it's just sometimes it's just all too bloody hard, you know. Totally. And you just think,
But I think it's just and I get that it's just reframing how you can fit stuff in. So you might be able to fit stuff around clients. You know, I try to walk with, you know, before school pickup, or I've got kids at a, you know, like Charlie does dancing. So, you know, while she does 2 lessons of dancing on a Thursday, and I've got to wait there. So I can get like a longer than an hour walk
Mm.
So it's just thinking of if you're having, not a great amount of sleep,
Yeah.
could you fit that stuff in? Because remember the walk and that style, the reason I'm saying for it as well is because that walk and that style movement is going to help with stress levels.
Yeah.
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 And I think when we're stressed, the being out in nature and that, so I think when we're stressed, it shows in a part of our body, and for you, it just always goes to your hips.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think if and the thing we've got to look at stretching and strengthening your hips.
Yeah.
We look at the other factors that can contribute. So I know that you don't, but if you were drinking, 2 bottles of wine a night or whatever else, well, then that's like an easy thing to think about. Well, maybe that's causing more inflammation.
Yeah.
If we're eating tons and tons of takeaway, like it means that the work you're doing on your hips is just going to be hindered by those other.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Those other factors too. So we just don't want to drop the other things that I know you've worked on.
Yeah.
So it's just finding that balance without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just another thing to think of, and you don't want to be overwhelmed with it, really.
Yeah, but
I want to enjoy it as well at the same time, don't you?
Totally. I think it's coming back to like remembering the why, remembering the why and why you want to do this and why, why, you want to stay active because, you've felt tired before and lacking energy and be active for the boy. So I think it's reminding yourself of what your why is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How clear do you think you are on your why?
I suppose I haven't really thought of it for a while, since the challenge, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I do know, I do know why I want to do it. Like mentally, for my mental health, that's one. For my job,
for your hip or for your is this for hip specifically or staying?
Oh, just everything in general. Like, yeah, everything to stay active. To be working out and yeah, definitely. That would probably be my number one, because when I do get stressed, it obviously helps with stress and everything, doesn't it? So that's kind of what I turn to. So those towel slams or those ball slams come in handy when you're having a bad
they do. And you said about your job too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, with that, because obviously I'm massaging, so it's obviously a lot on my hips and the position, for me to be in with that. So yeah.
So I think it's always good to have that reminder of that why, like because when we have those bad nights when the kids are up and we haven't had much sleep, it's easy to not bother doing anything. But
exactly.
And you're doing the work, you're going to be doing this extra like work, so when we do like I know strengthening your core after it's reminding yourself why you need to do it, like why, because it's what I find is, especially with the core strengthening and the hips, it's boring. It's not
I suppose it is, because there's just such little movements.
They say like a ball slam, we get the ball and we get to run. but to really build this core strength, I think I was saying to a class the other day, it's something that we have to do every day.
It
is every day. It is something we have to physically think about every day. And what I think is something that you could think about is how can you put it in regardless of what's going on with life. The longer anything's better than nothing, but we only do like once a week, or if you only do like a little bit in a Pilates class, so to speak, or some in one of my classes, like it's never going to do you any harm, but the work actually really needs to happen for you at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every day. So time, and then the less that you do, it's just the longer that it's going to take.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I understand. Yeah.
when I was building strength up after having like kids, each time, like say, I with Charlie, obviously I remember that better than Coops, but I did something every day, but I did it multiple times a day when and that's doing that because I had seen so many women who just wanted to jump straight back into exercise and didn't want to spend the time doing the boring work because it is boring.
Yeah.
Want to spend the time doing that stuff. I'd seen how so many women had, I guess, got to when their kids are older and then went, I'm actually in a lot of pain now. So that's the pain's bad enough before they do anything. I just didn't want to get to that.
Yeah.
But it still took me 9 odd months of doing it twice, a minimum of twice a day,
Twice a day, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I already had a really good foundation before.
Yeah.
So it's just, I want you to understand, everyone's different, but I want you to understand that it's not a 5-minute fix.
No, yeah.
The more that you can understand why, like you already, a motivator can be your disc degeneration because that's a piece of knowledge that we don't use it as be like, I've got this knowledge that I already have this degeneration. Now I'm going to do as much as I can.
Yeah.
To make sure that I'm strengthening the muscles around to support it so that it doesn't get worse, or I can, maintain it or stabilize.
Yeah.
It. Probably just thinking what we feel like we can realistically fit in.
Yeah, true.
To your life. And it also doesn't have to be, I have to spend half an hour on the floor. Like, it doesn't have to be that. It also can be, could you do things in between clients? Like how could we fit stuff in so that it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Now I have to do 30 minutes of, core exercise.
Yeah. I mean, and like after my clients, so it'd probably be a good thing to try and get in the habit of, really, because that is probably when they're at the tightest. Especially if I've had a busy day. So
it could be like a scheduling thing. Like if you have, let's say you finish with your last client at 7:00, just talk. Like, well, actually I finish at 7:30, yourself, or 7:15 or 7:20, like give yourself like a little bit of time. Like I find lots of people improve when they fit stuff in incidentally.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I find lots of people, because they're putting it in, because it doesn't feel like, oh my God, now I've got to spend half an hour doing this stuff. But I reckon if you could try to fit your stretches in incidentally, like in my circumstance, I know it's easier for me because people are already doing it, but I try to stretch with everybody as often. So I might have 5 or 6 or more opportunities a day to stretch with people, and it's always kind of different things. So I still do my own stuff on top of that, but I have these opportunities to do
the extra.
Yeah, like I had a guy, he just started and his hips were really tight. And so it was the same thing. I only see him once a week. And so he's like putting his leg up on the table, like the same thing we do on the bar. So he's doing that at his work as often as he can. And he's already made like really big difference. Like his leg up in the bar and now it's down. So even like, if you have clients back to back, like, a couple of things in between, if one says goodbye and you've got a minute, or you're talking and, you can just think about how you can fit it in, I think you'll be more successful.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it makes sense.
It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm now adding in extra Pilates classes, and now Renee's telling me I've still got to walk, and now she's telling me this, like, how the hell can I fit it all in?
Paper bag.
Yeah, and I've had no sleep, and so then it feels like too much, and you. But I think the more you can think of, even if you choose, I've said to other people before, just choose one exercise. Like, let's just choose one exercise and focus on that as much as you can, and then see what happens from there.
I like what you say about the scheduling in, though, because that is true, and especially because I work from home too. So once I come out of there to here, it's kind of
home life.
Yeah, you stuck back into home life straight away. There's like, mom, or mom, I want to do it. It's just like you're straight back into it. Whereas if I kind of just put it myself in there for an extra, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, then that
or
might work better
here as well. Think about your time. If you go in there a bit beforehand, and then you can also see what you could do between clients, or like you could really put your leg on the bed style.
Like those
way.
stretches that you showed me.
You could do that between, and it would, because you'd be doing it, let's say you'd be doing it 3 or 4 times a day, you would have lots of opportunity, like it would feel
it makes a difference, doesn't it?
So I would look at scheduling time before, or before work, after work, because I know with me, like, my kids go, they'll see me in the studio, and then they just like I don't get a moment to myself, so I actually found I had to go somewhere else to get that time. So like yesterday I went to do a workout, and then I think I had half an hour, right? I had half an hour, and I wanted to get as much done as I could in half an hour. I needed to make dinner, Sunday night and whatever else. And then Charlie was doing something with, she'd made things with glasses and dye. She spilt the dye all over the deck.
Oh,
so
no.
I had to go and fix that straight away, because I didn't want the dye to food coloring, so I didn't want that to soak into the deck and wreck the deck. So I had to go do that, and then she wanted me to pick them up, and then she was then like, oh, I want to join you for a workout, and then because it's half an hour. And then she, and then she said, I said, that's fine, join me in. And then she didn't want to do the workout that I was doing, and she wanted me to explain to her, like, the muscles that I was working, because I was getting impatient with her, because I just wanted this time to myself. She then was like, I don't like you shouting at me, but I wasn't shouting. I guess I was speaking in a firmer voice, because Charlie, I now only have, I think I end up getting 13 minutes in. And then so sometimes it's better when I go, like, when I leave the house, but that's
no,
just thinking of, like, even saying to Steve, I'm doing this beforehand, I want to make sure the kids don't bother me. I've been clear with that to Lee, but it sometimes doesn't follow through, like yesterday.
In one ear out the other.
So that's what I would like. That could be one of the first things that we look at. What do you think? What other things, like I know your stress has been high. Have you been working on, like, now have talked about stress management tools. Have you been working on them while your stress has been high, or have they all gone out the window?
No, probably. To be honest, they've probably all gone back out the window.
Don't worry. Yeah. I think it's putting back in some of them.
And
that's why all these things are good reminders, because
to reset, kind of thing, isn't it?
So say, like, obviously you've got your stuff going on with your dog, but like the kids sleeping, that's still going to go on,
oh God,
if we go, okay, Riley's 9, not Mason's 9, and Riley's 5 to, so then we go, okay, well, I've at least got another 4 years. Because Riley's got to maybe be doing the same, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
so that's why we want to remind it of keeping this stress management.
Yeah.
What do you feel is your main stress management tool? Your main kind of tools?
I think working out, like coming to the studio and working out. Like but I need somebody like, which I do get, is you to push me. But I need that. Do you know what I mean? I can't just do like a home workout, or I need somebody in front of me to tell me what to do, and then to push me that little bit further as well. But definitely working out. Yeah.
You've been keeping up with your exercise?
Yes.
Yeah. So you still, like, obviously I was away. You still came to classes while I was away and all that?
I came to classes, yeah.
So what other things is in your toolbox?
Walking, I think, was one of my other ones as well. So I need to get back into that.
Yeah. Because I'm,
like you say, being out in nature, and kind of I did used to like the morning walks, because you kind of just get up, see to yourself first, and it kind of gets you back in that right headspace to deal with the chaos in the morning. So yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah. How often is Steve away? Like, how often?
Well, it depends really. Not that often, but when he does go away, like he did New Zealand, and then he's going to go back to New Zealand again. So like he was away for half a week maybe last time, and then he's going to be away the same amount of time again.
But most times you do have an opportunity to get up in the morning.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think from what I know, like, of you, I think that walking in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, because if we think with, you still were coming to class, like you've got the working out habit in place.
Yeah. That's right.
And obviously you have had extra stress at the moment, but I think the walking is the thing that you told me before. Made a big
yeah. I was really I was really getting into it and enjoying it, and something happened, and there we are. Yeah. So
you could think about how you could think about, and maybe we get back in that habit of walk. Let's say you walk for let's say, how long were you normally walking for?
Well, it was mainly around the lake, so that was about 3K, so it's probably about 45 minutes.
So you could say, I'm going to walk for half an hour. I'm going to add in 10 to 15 minutes of hip stretches.
Yeah. To replace that. Yeah.
So you could do something like that. So then you're moving your hip, and we're strengthening it still, stretching and strengthening it.
I mean, that could obviously, it probably has got a lot to do with it, to be honest with you, that I haven't been doing the walking.
Yeah.
Because I had that plantar fasciitis as well. So I had to, that's probably what it was, actually. I had the plantar fasciitis, and then I had to back it off a bit.
Yeah.
While I had that. That's good. That's good now at the moment. I've controlled that. So I've done all the things and put that into place.
Yeah. So, and it's just managing. So just example, like I used to run every day, and then got those ganglion things on my feet, and then they started hurting, and then I could feel it was like I could feel it was like I just feel it was going to turn into something major, like starting to stop me from moving altogether. So I had to stop the running, and then like I can't quite go back to running every day, because I feel like I've got to space it out now more, and that's more how I try to manage it.
Yeah, and I think that's what I need to do, because I think what was happening was I was doing the walking, and then I was coming to class, and I found it was just a bit too much. Do you know what I mean? And then it would start playing up again. So I think I just need to. implement it back in, but not maybe just do it on the days maybe that I'm not doing a class, maybe, I don't know.
Well, you just I think it's just become aware and start managing.
Yeah, become more aware. Yeah.
But it's also understanding, like, you know, feet, ankles, knees, hips, they're all they're all related, you know, so
Yeah,
they're
they
all
are.
so you know, like it could have a multi-prong effect anyway. Like with
it was at one stage, yeah, it was. So it was like nightmare.
But yeah, so it's just thinking of, and what I would suggest is going, okay, and also managing it in a way of I have had a really bad night with the kids. We've been awake all night. It's been musical beds. I'm absolutely exhausted. And then it would be like, okay, I am going to sleep in, but I know that this afternoon I have an opportunity to go for a half an hour walk. So it's like, give yourself grace, but be like, okay, but this is a stress management strategy of mine that I need to put in, but I will make sure that I will fit the walk in while the kids are at school. Or so it's just think about how you can still keep that up.
Manage it without, missing out, kind of thing.
Yeah. So what I would also think about, so with your core, what I always recommend is there's so much stuff that you can do just in your daily life without having to get on the ground for half an hour. So I was thinking about things of the first kind of stages, like I was saying, we've got to remind ourselves we're a beginner. So we're starting totally from the start, but it's that stuff like activating our pelvic floor. So new mum, you are just like you've just had Riley again. So we're at
oh God help me.
But we want to think in our head that we're going to and we're just like that. So what I would say to like a brand new mum is the first thing we want to do is we want to work on just like our posture. We want to work. It's recommended for at least 6 weeks to not do any core exercise while you're healing, so to speak. So in that 6 weeks, I always recommend them to look at, like just connecting your core properly. So connect your core from your pelvic floor. So pulling the pelvic floor, pulling in your sides, and you can do that while you're walking around the house. You can do that driving in the car. So, so that's things that you can do again, and then it doesn't feel like, oh,
I've got to do something else.
I've now got to do something else. Like it's just that's the first thing that I would say. So as much as you can. So I used to, I don't have to do it now, but I used to walk around the house and I'd just be thinking of like, how am I standing? I'm pulling, I'm drawing my belly button to my spine. I'm holding that, you want to hold your core in and breathe out. So the more regularly, again, you can think about that, we can look at connecting our core from our pelvic floor. Okay. So what I find is lots of people struggle to get that connection first. Do you feel like, how do you feel about switching on your core?
I can do it. I can definitely do it because I do it when I'm working out in your classes when you say to do it. I think sometimes it just, I don't know whether it's, I can do it to begin with, and then sometimes maybe after I've done, it gets fatigued, and that's when my neck starts taking over instead of my core strength instead. So, which I'm becoming more aware of it, which is great.
This is the first key. Like,
the
thing is, as soon as you feel, like I meet so many people that their neck starts to click in, but they're too embarrassed to say, or they think they have to just push through. And you just, as soon as your neck's clicking in, you're not working your core anymore.
No, there's no point, is there?
There's no point because you continue. You're just going to hurt yourself. So like I was saying, so it's just thinking of, so that's something that you could do. How do you feel your pelvic floor is? Do you have any problems with it?
No, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So you don't feel like you're going to wet yourself or anything?
Oh, every now and again,
Yeah.
like if you like holding for the toilet kind of thing, or
But you don't, like, so some people, they feel like they can't run because they're going to wet themselves. They feel like they can't jump, jog. Do you feel like that?
no, I think it's pretty good with that.
Yeah. Because I see some people go, oh yeah, but I had kids, so of course my pelvic floor's like that. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not something we accept. It's something we can all work on and fix.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, some people go, oh, well, I had Caesars, so my pelvic floor's fine. I'm like, yeah, but you're still carrying a watermelon.
Yeah.
Pressure on that. So just because you had a Caesar doesn't mean that you don't need to work on it.
No.
So we just want to, so that's something that we could look at doing. Again, it's that awareness of being able to, and you can do it while you're working, and it would make the switching your core on and holding
Yeah.
it, because maybe you're good at, I don't know, and it's just, again, something to think about. Maybe you're really good at putting it on during the class, but maybe think about switching it on while you're working. I don't know.
Yeah. True.
Because that's going to support you from not, that's going to, if you've got your core on whilst you're working, it's going to support
Yeah.
you. Because what's your probably main, do you get back pain while you're working, or what's your main?
It's just really, like, it just gets tighter, really. Do you know what I mean? Just being in that position, I think. And at the moment, because the weather's changing, it's getting colder as well, so, and from hopping from bed to bed, it's kind of it's kind of giving me a bit of nerve pain as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit.
It's your lower back.
Yeah, in that sacrum area.
Yeah. So how have you done that exercise where we lay on the roller and the roller lays on your back and you put your arms over your head? Have you done that one?
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Yeah.
And then you go that way. So you've got
Yes, you did. Yeah, you did that with me. Remember when it was only me that turned up for class before your holiday?
Oh yeah. Our last session was good.
Yeah.
Right, let's really work on it. So do you remember the one I'm talking about? Did you feel like that made a difference?
Yeah, and then we did the one on the wall with the quads as well, didn't we? Remember that? And that was really tight too. That was
so that's the two exercises. I'm thinking that to not feel overwhelmed. I'm thinking that to make your focus. So the other one is the couch stretch. So that's the one that's on the wall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Stretch. So a lot of times, how you said you're getting that nerve pain in your back?
Yeah.
It's opposing muscle group.
Yeah.
Because your hips are so tight, that's why it's pulling, like it's pulling into your back.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to stretch out the hips. So with that exercise, so I'm thinking this will open your upper back. So we're down on the roller and we're going to reach over your head, and then open up that way. So that's open your upper back, because I think when you're hunched
forward
in your work,
yeah,
I think that would be good for that. But that couch stretch is going to open your hips up and help the back. Now, the person that I got that stretch off, he had chronic back pain. And he said that stretch alone stopped his back pain.
Wow.
Yeah. And like the person I was telling you that he's started doing that side stretch. He had back pain, and he's been doing the couch stretch and his back, he hasn't had any back pain since he's been training.
God, wow.
Yeah. So
it's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah. So with that couch stretch, what you need to do is we need to do the couch stretch, but then so we're stretching it out, but then we need to strengthen. So we'll do, let's say you hold up, put one leg up, and then we twist, like kind of give your hip that, we want to rotate your hips.
Yeah.
Feel it more on the quad, and it does feel like, because it hurts. And then I'll send you the video of it, and then we reach our arms over our head and down. So we want to do that on each side, and then And then we want to, and then you want to say do a butt lift. So we've stretched it out. Now we need to strengthen the glutes to keep the hip back in place so that it stops popping back out. I feel that if we just choose two hip, like those stretches, it will not feel so overwhelming. And if you try to do them as often as you can.
Okay.
At least once a day. But I reckon you'll notice a difference, like trying to do that before your client, like before you start your day.
That's a lovely stretch, that is.
Yeah. And like if you spent just that little bit of time after your last client leaves, you know, doing that, I think it would make
a difference.
It would make a difference.
Because you're going the opposite way of what you've been, the position you've been in.
And then, like, you know, like the something else that you could probably do between people is you know, that exercise where we get down into that really, really low squat.
Oh yeah, and you're always flat-footed on it.
But like that is something that you could also do that numerous times throughout the day. Like you could do it while you're doing something for the kids or while you're waiting for them, or, you know, like around the house. But you could do, you know, like anything like that because our focus is going to be about getting the hips to loosen up and to start feeling and moving how they should. That's something else that would be you know, like I said, that doesn't feel, I'm trying to give you things that it doesn't feel like, right, I have to get down on the ground for half an hour, because sometimes
that's good.
So that's something that you could add in incidentally. So maybe you get it done. And remember that when we do something for people feel like they have to do something for half an hour, or, you know, whatever, or it's not worth it. But when you do little things, it all adds up.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
So if we could look at that stuff, and then we want to then think about your core. So what do you feel like you can do for your core? Like time wise, what do you think is realistic?
Well, you know, like you say, you know, at night you could actually just be lying there just doing a bit of work on your core strength. Well, that's true, because you know, you do get the time there, you know, and you know, you watch a bit of TV. I watch a bit of TV at night, you know, just for you switch off kind of thing. But I could be lying there just doing a bit of that. I could work it into.
Do you feel like you'd like to do that, or do you feel like?
No, that would be fine. Yeah,
because if you're still doing like I said, it's something about every day. But if we thought about for your core, and we had people doing it for, I think there was like 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. The people that had significant changes from just doing that, you know, they were doing something every day. And like I said, because if we're reminding us why we're wanting to do this, like, you know, we are wanting, you know, like you do know you've got disc degeneration, you do know that, you know, the same thing, you know, like maybe because your core is not switching on, your glutes or your hips or something is trying to do the work, you know, like something.
Overcompensating.
It's always a knockoff. There's always a knockoff effect. So if you feel like you can go, okay, I'm going to pan out the time to do it. Would you say that you sit every night?
Pretty much after we've had dinner and put the kids to bed, and we do probably get about maybe an hour.
Is that your time together? Do you want to? Is that something that would take away from your time together?
No, he could do it with me.
Gosh, if I asked Lee to do stuff, he'd be like, "No way." You just want to make sure that it's not taking away from.
No, that'll be fine. We're all good.
Yeah, taking away from, you know, and so So what I found is so when starting a new habit, so again, just start thinking about, I told myself I was going to do yoga every night. And I said I'd do it when the kids went to bed. Every night the kids went to bed, and I didn't do it because I was probably too casual about really defining,
Yeah.
I felt too tired at night too. And then I was like, okay, what habit do I already have in place? And the habit I already had in place was running every morning. So I got up 15 minutes earlier and I did yoga every day and before my run.
Okay. Yeah.
So so when I was trying to pin it to the evening, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I just want you to think about what you think can make work for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Again,
all right. I suppose it's just the thing of trialing it and
totally
seeing how it goes, isn't it?
So that's the same thing as, we talked about getting the walk in. Get the walk in and maybe like that 15 minutes, they're walking for half an hour, doing 15 minutes of core could be something that you could combine together.
Yeah. And one of our friends has gone away, and I said to her, well, I'll take Charlie for a walk, so this is in my mind, right? So I actually get to go and do it. So now is in my mind, I need to go and take her for a walk, like a couple of times at least a week, just to get me back in the habit of getting back into the walking, because it's like, she needs a walk, so I she's gonna motivate me to take her to go for a walk. So something like that. So that's what was in my mind when she said she was going away. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
to help get back in.
Just get a bit of exercise.
And you can look at again, it's all knock-on stuff, that's knock-on effects, but we think, okay, so you want to, let's say we're going to get back into this habit and really secure the habit of walking in the morning. You've done it before, it's made you feel really good and set you up for the day.
Yeah.
At the moment, the night times can be quite unpredictable. But I read something when I was away actually, and I really liked it, and I've been implementing it into my life since we got back, is you set yourself up for your day the night before. So you want to have a day, we actually start the night before. And yes, I used to always lay out my clothes, but I've really started going to the next level and being like, because sometimes we give ourselves the littlest amount of time possible to be ready, hoping that everything runs perfectly.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, something doesn't quite go to plan. So you want to give yourself, like obviously setting your clothes out. If you're taking water, have your earphones near, make sure this is charged, shoes near the door, if you're taking the dog lead. Everything as much as you can, so you're giving yourself the path of least resistance, because we're really trying to get this new habit up and running. It's still really easy to get out of it. I've had a late night, I've slept in. I used to, and I've told you before, I used to sleep in my clothes, so I just had to get up and go,
that's a good idea.
So it's just thinking about how can you make it like as easy as possible, so that you've got the least amount of options to get out of it. For the habits really. I even, so like last week, I even like put, like the pot and my tea, and like I even set them out and ready.
In the morning,
and they put my water bottle in the fridge, and I put the kids, because I've got to leave the lunches for the breakfast for the kids. So I put them out, and the milk in the fridge, because they have milk in cups, and then put that, I really went to that next level, so that I'm not stressing. Mine's about stress management. So I'm not stressing in the morning, and I'm not getting up feeling like.
That's what can be a bit overwhelming, can't it? Because when you've got kids that don't listen either.
So, but if we think, how much can you do in the night, like for the next day?
Well, Yeah, I used to actually, thinking on it, I used to do the kids' lunch boxes
Oh
the
yeah.
night before as well.
Yeah. I
That
don't know
was
why
another thing I used to do.
that.
So it's not so much of a rush in the morning then. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I do that. I do think I have to because I'm in the studio.
Yeah.
But when I speak to people and they say like how stressful, I'm like, I don't know why people don't make the lunches the night before. I couldn't manage if I didn't have, you know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
Like I
have,
could do, like I was doing it in the evening, I think after like we'd, tidy up the kitchen and stuff. And then I think I was just doing it then.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
so that's another thing I could start implementing.
yeah,
And if I don't get up to go really early for a walk, then if Steve's here, then he normally does school drop off anyway. So I could just go and get my walk,
yeah,
then because they'll be all ready to go. Because that's what I spend my time in the morning doing is I get up, I make the kids lunch boxes, get them ready to go out the door, and then Steve takes them when he's here mainly. So
yeah.
yeah.
So you don't even need to have to go to school. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just think about how, and I lay the kids like last week as well. I put their bags near the door because for me, lots of times I'm running in and I'm like running in from the studio, and then like on a Thursday, Cooper has to go swimming in the
Yeah.
and I finish with someone at 6:30. Now I never finish at 6:30 on the dot. I normally always talk for longer. So
Mm.
it's let's say 6:35 if I'm lucky. So
Yeah.
running in the door at 6:40, and then we have to get in the car and he starts swimming at 6:45.
No,
So
gosh. Yeah.
and I do this to myself. So then I was like, okay. So, like one day I tried having the bags near the door. One day I tried putting like the bag and his musical instrument and all that in the
Mm.
car. So all I had to do was carry the lunches. So just think about how you can. Yesterday, I actually, I'm still navigating what's the easiest thing, but yesterday I actually put all my clothes together for the week and hung them in
Mm.
the ring. I
You.
get dressed in the dark. I always get dressed in the dark. One day last week, I had my pants on inside out. Oh, full of class. Yeah. So I've set all my clothes, like t-shirts, tights,
Mm.
sports bra,
Yeah.
I had all of the, I've hung them all up together, like in sets for the day.
Mm.
And I've put 5 sets up hanging in the laundry. So this morning I just picked out one set of clothes. So
Wow. Yeah.
that to make less stress, so just think
Well,
how,
yeah, because you're always looking for like socks or something. You can't, you can't always find something. It's where's that? And that takes
yeah,
up another how
yeah, or
many minutes?
things like, I can't find a lighter colored bra, or I can't find
Yeah.
a lighter pair of undies, or, like it's always
Yeah.
something that,
There's always
you know,
something. Yeah.
that you're looking for, and then you're looking in the dark. And so it's just thinking, how can you make your life as easy as possible because you're wanting to strengthen your core, because you're wanting to spend your time on this, then
Yeah.
we need to look at how we can sort out other,
Areas. Yeah.
yeah. So, so yeah, so those other things are not quite related to strengthening our core and hips, but they'll make a huge difference to
Mm.
to
Yeah.
to the fact if you get to spend time.
To do. Yeah. That bit more time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could even look at stuff like, you could go, okay, I'm going to do half an hour walk, 15 minutes on core, so to speak. Or you could do, I'm going to do 20 minutes of a walk and look at walking faster, so
Mm.
how long can it take me to fit in 3Ks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I look at increasing my speed a little bit, and then I can, you know, spend a little, maybe 20 minutes walking, 20 minutes on core, like
Yeah.
you look at fiddling around that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah. And then I think it's important to check back. So let's look at implementing some of these things. I'll write them out for you, and then look at checking back. Like,
Yeah.
yep, this worked well, this didn't. That's okay. Let's look at what else we can look at fitting in.
Yeah.
I found the mornings too overwhelming. I found, but yeah, we don't want to try 100 things at once.
No, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That sounds good.
The other thing, again, looking at creating new habits, tagging what you already do is depending on life and schedule is, like somebody else was shoulder. She came to do, so she says, I'm not going to do the exercise at home. She goes, I'm just telling you now, I'm not going to do it. So she came to class like 10 minutes early. Did the stuff then. So you could be like, I'm already coming to class. Can I not sit in the car on my phone for 10 minutes? Like, because then you've got another 10 minutes in or something.
Yeah. True.
Something in. I've had quite a few people that have done stuff like that, and they've, so then it's you're just getting more in, especially while we're putting a focus on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's another good idea.
What I'll do is I'll write up kind of what we think could be a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we try it for 4 weeks and then check back in. So you can see your difference. You could take photos of like that low squat is an example of how, like if your feet are off the ground. So
I see what you mean.
Photos, you could record down how often you're in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to know that what you're doing is working. You also want to know that you want to look for triggers. So like if when this happens, or when I have this many clients booked in on a day, then my pain's really bad, and maybe you need to look at changing the structure of your day, like something. Or things that may be causing you more pain, or making it worse. If I know lots of, like one lady I used to train, it was her car. So lots of times with people with like a chronic injury or whatever, it tends to not be in the gym that they do it, because they're more conscious of it because they've had the injury. So it's in their everyday life things of when they're not thinking about it as to when. So it's just, so she had a really, really low car. So it was getting in and out of her car that actually triggering her hip. Someone else, it was, she lived on a driveway.
Yeah.
Getting out of the car on the sloping driveway is what put her back out. So it's just thinking, just take note in the next few weeks. Is there anything that you notice that?
Well, I already know that with like going into different beds.
Yeah.
Like if I go from my bed to Riley's bed, because his is a firmer mattress than what mine is.
Yeah.
And it's like when they're in the same bed as you, they actually don't lie the same direction. They like to sleep across, and then they like to hit you and be near you, but they'd like you to go on the very edge of the bed.
Yes. That's hard.
So that's kind of what happened. That happened last night.
Yeah.
And then this morning, when I got out of bed, I felt that little bit of a nerve pain.
Yeah.
And I thought, there we are. That's what it is, because I've been in all kind of directions with them overnight. So yeah,
you have to it's I know it's really hard. We had that when my kids were in both of them, and like Cooper's getting bigger, and I said to them, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I said, like, I can't do it. I'm so uncomfortable, because I was the same on the edge. I did a bribery.
Yeah.
I was like, if you stay in your bed this many nights, then you get this at the end of the week. It works with Charlie. It didn't work with Cooper. But I started doing, it's just work out what your things.
Yeah, definitely. What makes them tick.
Yeah. And I spoke to them as well. I said, I told them I was in pain. I said, like, I says, I'm not sleeping. I'm uncomfortable because, like you're in your bed. And I think what worked with Cooper, I actually gave him I said, you can come into the bed after 4 because I get up. And this is an anxiety.
Yeah.
So I think I said to him, could could he do that? And he would wake up and he'd see the clock and he'd see it wasn't 4. Cooper's older than Riley, I know, but that's how I did it with and now they don't very often. Cooper was in our bed last night, but more often than not they don't come. They don't come. So it took with Charlie, we did with the bribery, and I had a chart and you crossed it off and they could see you crossing it off, and they got I kept it small so then they could see the reward. They could see the reward, and if they did it this many nights, I think they got to choose a $10 toy from the shops or something.
You
do that whatever the carrot, if the carrot's on the iPad, see, and it didn't always happen first time. It took a few goes of a few reminders, but Charlie's never in our bed now.
Oh wow.
We had a phase where they were both, what's my gram been here for? It was probably maybe 3 years ago, and it probably went on for way over a year.
Yeah, we've had that with Mason. I mean, Mason will sleep on the mattress on the floor kind of thing. He won't want to come into bed with us, but it's Riley that wants that comfort. But 9 times out of 10 he's just cold, and they don't pick the duvet up and put it over you. And then he just kicks it off all the time, and it's like, oh my god.
Have you seen those? You could try the weighted blankets or the
yeah, I was thinking the weighted blanket.
Do you remember I don't know whether I've still got one, but when those things that's you're kind of like that in your bed. It's a tight sheet that they go into.
I don't think he'd like that at all, to be honest with you, because he's fine. It'll go over him, then he'll be you go to sleep, and then all of a sudden, then next minute he's just kicking it off. And he's his asthma was really bad last night. I haven't heard it that bad before. It was the wheeze. And then so I was trying to keep him warm because it was colder last night as well. But no, he just kept, and I thought, I'll just get a little blanket then, maybe just put that over him. But he was doing the same with the blanket. So
dress him warmly.
Yeah, I think that's I'm just gonna have to dress him in layers.
Yeah. The other thing that's been good for Coops is here it is here actually. An eye mask.
Oh yeah, Mason got me a little eye mask from my Mother's Day package.
Bluetooth one.
Ah, okay.
So it's got so they've got the there's earphones in it.
Yeah, oh cool, that's clever.
So Lee actually bought this for me, but Cooper's been using it more. But this last week, so Cooper's a 5 a.m. always up at 5. I had to wake him up at 30.
Wow.
Because of the darkness. Even if we've got blackout curtains and it doesn't quite come but the darkness, that's been pretty cool.
Wow, that's so cool.
You just have to remember to keep it like that to charge it. Yeah. That's not, you're damn it. But so that's something that's
a great idea.
Yeah.
And it's something so simple as well, isn't it? But
but it's a huge difference and a huge because they're getting more sleep and they're happier and and
it has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? Otherwise,
sleep is a number one. When we don't sleep well, what happens? We don't sleep well. We we tend to make poorer choices with food. We're more irritable,
just a knock-on effect. It's just
such a big knock-on effect from not having a good night's sleep. And maybe it is thinking how can we really, we all have bad nights, but ours became a habit. Ours became the kids, it started off, and then it just became a habit, and then they were both in our bed, and it was just no. It was just a point where it was Yeah, I said to Cooper, you're getting bigger, like, and the bed's not big enough for all of us. Like,
Yeah. Well, one point Steve had to go out and sleep in Riley's bed because Riley was in with me and then Mason was in. But we got like full night sleeps. It was so good. And I think that's why we took so long to kind of try and do something about it again. Because I'm like, you know, if you're all getting that good night's sleep, does it really matter where you are sleeping?
You know? I know. But I guess you're noticing now that this is actually causing you more pain.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? And because like with Steve won't hear it because he's got the mask on, so he won't hear the kids. So it's, and women always hear more than what men do anyway, don't they?
Well, he hears, but he doesn't get up. I was like, did you hear them? He's like, yeah, but I knew you'd get up, so I just left it.
Oh dear.
But yeah, it just think because maybe that if the sleep can get under control, then the other stuff will be easier.
Yeah.
It'll be
yeah, true.
Because you're at least getting enough sleep.
Yeah. It's just been like over the last week as well. It's just been kind of like, you know, Mason's shouting me, and then I get up to Mason, and then I settle him down, and then Riley shouts me again after I've just got back into bed, and I've just, you know, you're going into that deep sleep, and then you kind of getting disturbed and going into the room again, and it's like, oh, it's just so easier just to go and lie with them there, because instead of me keep getting up and down, and then you're like, oh.
I know. It's really hard, and we all have to just work out what works for us. I know, like so Cooper's been wearing this sleep mask, but then he'll call out and say, can I, like, if he wakes up through the night, he wants he listens to like a story, he wants the story back on. And I said to him, like, I just said to him, I said, look, can you, you're calling me out, and you're so just, I think it was Saturday night, maybe, or Friday night, he called me out to straighten his blanket up on.
Oh, yes, like Mason. Yeah.
So I got woken up to go and straighten his blanket up on his bed, and then stories on. And I just said to him, you know, I said, oh, can we try not to do that? And he said, well, what do I do if I wake up? I said, he's got a thing in his room. I said, just like a Google thing. I said, put it on the Google thing, because like it takes a few minutes to get it connected. And I just said, oh, you know, it's waking me up, and then I'm not getting back to sleep. Or so Mason's old enough to he'd kind of understand as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last night, Cooper, so he obviously must have woken up, and he put the stories on his Google Home device things. And maybe like think about scenarios or what you could talk to them about and see, you know,
that what would work for them.
Because the sleep thing has been going, I know that's been going on a while.
Yeah, that would probably be going on about 12 months now. And it was Mason that it originally was the one that was ending up in our room. And of course, then, you know, why is he in your room and I'm not, you know, like, it's just, but Riley does like his own space, it's kind of like you're kind of discussing them with them at the moment. Well, do we need to put you back in the same room as each other, you know, for company? But then they're still calling out for me. So it's like, well, that's not going to make any difference, is it?
And if, you know, like Riley's the same age as Charlie, like she was easier to change than Coops, because
he is, I'd say that
she was probably more following him, because I think, why do you have to come into our bed every night? Because you know, the same thing is that when they were little, I used to like do the fight with them, and then I'd end up laying in their bed. But sometimes it would be, you know, and then if it, let's say it started at 2, I'd have to might last till 3:30. I could have get up anyway. So my days were starting at like 2. So then when I got her to Charlie, I would just you know, it was easier to pick her up and put her in the bed with me, and then I could be back asleep in 5 minutes. That suited me for ages. But then obviously then was having both of them in, and that's what, like, you know, it's taken its time, but we've been able to get out of the habits that they're in.
I mean, that's what happened last night, because I said to Steve, I don't want to be woken up again and again and again. So can you just, like he said, right, I'll go in with Mason in Riley's bed and I'll bring him in here to you. Do you know what I mean? So at least you're in your own bed.
Yeah.
And it's going to make a bit of a difference with your back kind of thing. But, you know, you're up half the night worrying about them anyway, because it's like, oh my God, are you okay?
Especially when like he's breathing like that.
Oh, it was just all really raspy, you know, like, oh, it was just, I haven't heard him like that before. So I'm like, oh God.
I know, and it's coming into that season, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the sleep's massive, and you know, it's good if you're connecting that the sleep's actually irritating your hip and your back.
Yeah, and I was in such a great sleep last night. You know, when you get into bed and you're nice and warm, and you fall asleep, and then it's like, and then I didn't hear them this time. Steve actually heard them, and he went first, and I was like, oh, phew. It's such a relief not to get out of bed. And then he came back and was like, and then 2 minutes later, like, oh, God's sake.
And then I think, oh, it's going to be a day that they don't call me. Or they
I know.
Me, so just,
yeah. I know. I keep thinking like that. I do, but it's just hard when it's like every night, isn't it?
I know.
Also every night.
When you're in it, he was doing that trying to kick off the covers and holding the covers up because he was trying. Yeah, he was in our bed. All right. But anyway, I'll write some of this stuff up, and then we'll see what we feel like we can implement. Does that stuff sound realistic?
Yeah, definitely, darling. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I think, and I always think it's good to I know you've had the sheet before that has the, you know, like we fill things out. So you could definitely put in, you know, like the sleep steps, you know, eyes, like, you know, you could change some of the headings like core, hips, you know, because you then look back at your week, you might be like, oh my gosh, I only, you know, got my hip exercises in once a week. It's not a reason to beat up on ourselves. It's a reason to go, oh, okay, that's what needs to be improved. You know, like it goes, oh, I only got my morning walk in here, you know, and I think it does like rate your stress, and you could be like, oh gosh, my stress was actually quite high, you know, and you can, so you'll notice trends which will make you more inclined to stick to stuff.
Yeah.
I'll resend you that sheet to kind of fill out if you can.
Yeah. Okay.
We're really trying to ingrain these habits. All right, I'll get onto this straight away, and I'll get it sent out to you so we can try implementing it straight away. Okay. And then, as I said, we want to be like checking in to make sure that you're feeling like that, you feel like it's working or it's making a difference, or if it's not, then we look at another strategy.
Yeah, sounds good, darling. Thank you.
Cool. All right, I'll get this sent out to you as soon as possible.
Okay.
So isn't she amazing? So Tanya, we were able to, because I have known her for quite a while, I already knew some things about how, the walking was something that she's found is really good for her mental health. And, I was really encouraging how she can try to implement that back into her life. So that was probably one of our first action steps that we talked about after. We also talked about looking at the sleep routine and seeing how she can manage. I know it's really overwhelming. I know it's really hard to, things that happen with kids during the night, and a lot of it's out of your control, but it's just seeing what's in your control and what you can try to manage. And the more awareness that you have of, maybe things that are causing you pain or flaring it up, we can look at taking those action steps around that. So looking at managing her sleep routine was also one of them. From her other action steps that we talked about was implementing like a core workout when she could fit it in. I am going to set her up with some videos so that she will be able to have something to follow. She said that she would be able to do it at nighttime in front of the TV. It's something that I have spoken about before in the classes. I think you're already sitting there. Why don't you just get on the floor and do some core exercises? So she's going to try that. And again, we'll be checking into making sure that she does stick to that, or if it feels too much, we'll look at something else. We also looked at planning her when she works. So Tanya works from home. She is a massage therapist. So, I work from home myself and I know what the juggle was like. So we were looking at maybe when she, instead of racing straight back into the house to, get on with the mum duties that she's got to do, that she could just spend a little bit of time just stretching and coming down from work. Lots of times she wants to get the best for her customers, her clients, it's a very, very physical job. So we looked at adding that in. The goal of what I'm trying to help create for Tanya is things that she can stick to and that don't feel so overwhelming. So, when we're looking at creating new habits, we're looking at tagging a current habit that you have with a new habit, because you're more likely to stick to it that way. So that was most of her action steps. I wanted to record it down. I think that it's really important to record everything down, because when you do record it down, you are more likely to stick to it. So we talked about also recording these things down so, she could see where maybe some things were missed, and if things were missed, if things need to be improved on, or if she's doing really well, and that will, help keep her motivated. And again, she has the option to be able to send it to me as another form of accountability. So that was kind of Tanya's action steps. And it's really important to understand, building your core strength, or, increasing your hip mobility. So many people I meet have tight hips, and, lots of people will say, I'll say, do you have tight hips? And they'll say, fine, and then I get them to do like a exercise, and they realize, oh, my hips are tight. And, if you think about it as well, your hips are the center of your body. So they are the center of your body. So, the pain can go into your back. It can, pull in your legs. It can, and so much other stuff can come if our hips are just really tight. So it's a really, really important thing to work on. The thing to remember though is that this type of stuff, it didn't happen in 5 minutes, so it's not going to be a 5-minute fix. And it's really understanding that the time, it's the more regularly that you do things, the quicker you're going to see a result. So, if you only do something once a week, then if you're only doing it once a week, then you're not going to not get a result, but it will take longer. So it's just understanding that. And, as I was saying, when I was building my core strength after having my kids, it pretty much took about 9 months, the same amount of time that I was pregnant. And I did something every day for it, if not at minimum of twice a day. So when I had Charlie, I used to get up, I set my alarm and I'd get up before she woke up. I was lucky enough that that I could kind of predict when she would wake up. I had good sleeping babies. So yes, I was lucky in that circumstance. So I would get up before she woke up and I would do yoga. And I would do that. So then at least got that done. And then during the day, I would fit in what I could when I could. So it was in small increments, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I'd made one commitment to myself that at nighttime, when the kids went to bed, depending on how I was feeling, I would do at least 5 minutes. So minimum of 5 minutes. Lots of times I would do longer, maybe 20 minutes. But if I was feeling crappy, I would still at least do 5 minutes just to keep that. And, my motivation was because I've seen so many mums that, have problems with their core and they want to work on that. So, and they're struggling with their core, but it's just because it's not exciting. It's not exciting. And it does take time, and we all want to jump ahead. So I've seen that so many times, and mums with, grown up kids, and they still haven't built that strength. So that was my motivation to make sure I do it. And yes, I'm lucky enough that I've witnessed both sides of it. So, it's, I hope if you are in the similar circumstance, that you could take some motivation from Tanya, because it's nice to hear somebody that is looking at, she's really looking at putting this focus on her core strength. Now, anyone who is, if you are doing a core exercise, so the biggest thing I can say to you to remember, if you are doing a core exercise and the exercise is pulling in your neck, or your back, or any of those things, you are not working your core anymore. So stop. We should never be in pain. It should never pull in your neck. And don't think you have to just push through and it will get better, because when it's pulling in your neck or your back, you're not working your core. Your neck is trying to do the work. And if you continue to do that, it will not get better. So if you're in that circumstance, stop, strip it back a level, and you will always feel so much stronger for it. Because if you continue to do an exercise while it's pulling in your neck, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous. If you know anybody that is in a similar position, please make sure you share the podcast, because the more people that we can get feeling better about themselves and making sure they're getting realistic habits into their life, the better off. And that is my goal. And if you would like an opportunity to have to be part of a coaching call, you can apply for that on my website. So make sure you check on that to do so. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous. And remember, I always have your back.